Now, the husband and wife who went missing Thursday night have died, the latest on the police investigation. And a man is in custody after nearly crashing into people at a parade last night, why one mother is calling it one of the scariest moments of her life. Plus, the Badgers have the axe and are heading to Indianapolis. Highlights from Minneapolis.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 10.
Thanks for joining News 3 Now at 10. I'm Amanda Quintana. There could be travel problems tonight with a mix of precipitation before it turns to snow tomorrow. Let's turn it over to Gary Canalti with your first alert forecast.
We're very closely watching the radar tonight, Amanda. We've had bands of precipitation come through, showers, even a few thunderstorms. But as you take a look at high-resolution Doppler radar, you can see once you get north of Madison, especially in the northern Columbia County, Marquette and Green Lake counties, north of the Dells, that area, we're either seeing snow or a mixture of snow, rain, sleet, and freezing rain. And you can see visibility is dropping down to less than 2 miles to the north, so it indicates that it is reaching the ground. Temperatures are right at the freezing mark in the Dells, up to Wautoma, and then even colder weather up into central Wisconsin, whereas from Madison southward, temperatures are in the mid to upper 30s, and precipitation is the form of rain. Winter weather advisories are in effect from midnight through 6 p.m. tomorrow for areas north of Wisconsin Dells. They've just been expanded into Vernon and La Crosse counties. As we take a look at our day planner for tomorrow, look for that mix of precipitation or even rain to start out the day early and then change to snow during the day with perhaps a couple of inches of accumulation north and west of Madison. Temperatures will fall from a morning high through the 30s, and then after that, looks like things will settle down for the rest of next week. I'll have more details on weather in a few minutes.
Thank you, Gary. 2 people are dead after going missing on Thanksgiving Day. Adam Duxter joins us now with how police were able to find them after searching for days.
Well, Amanda, officials with the Dane County Sheriff's Office say the elderly couple's car had gotten stuck on a remote path near Mount Horeb, with the two still inside. Now they're working to figure out just how it happened in the first place.
87-year-old Donald Soper and 87-year-old Colleen Soper were found today after the two went missing Thursday evening. Officials say the two had left a family gathering in Black Earth, with Donald expected to take his wife Colleen to an assisted living facility in Cross Plains. That's when the two went missing and a silver alert issued, with their car's GPS last hitting near the intersection of County Highway J and Highway 78. Today, their car found with the two inside near the 5500 block of County Highway J. Police say their car appeared to be stuck, but the circumstances of the incident didn't seem to be suspicious. Donald Soper, who is diabetic, was pronounced dead at the scene. Colleen Soper was taken to Meriter Hospital in critical condition and passed away later today, according to her daughter's Facebook page. And while their search is now over, the investigation isn't.
Now, yesterday we spoke with family members who were hopeful for a miracle at that time the two would be found safe. And we'll continue to update this story as more information does become available.
Thank you, Adam. A Darlington man is in custody and faces possible charges of 5th offense OWI after a car chase that began at a parade in downtown Beloit last night. Officials arrested Curtis Metz, who Beloit police say drove through barricades and into the grand lighted holiday parade. Authorities say Metz originally came to a stop, but then refused to follow orders and instead drove off into the parade route. According to attendees on social media, Metz nearly hit multiple people and children. Gabriela Becerra spoke with one parent who's hoping this incident will send a message for change.
It's calm in downtown Beloit now, but for those who went to the grand lighted holiday parade last night, they're calling this chase one of the scariest moments of their lives.
It felt like it lasted a long time. I know it was just seconds, but being terrified rest of the night.
Brittany Will took her son to see Santa at the parade last night.
As soon as we hear the yelling, we look to the left.
Yeah, it's going that way.
And all of a sudden you see a vehicle coming at you, just the headlights. And I mean, you heard the sirens, but you really don't pay attention to those because you're at a parade. You hear them all the time.
That's when she pulled her son to safety.
The first instinct you have is just to grab whatever kids are around you. I went to go grab my son, and he was literally inches away from my son. You know, about a foot maybe.
Will says the truck drove through the parade, nearly hitting many people at what she says seemed like 20 to 30 miles per hour.
He put a lot of lives in danger last night, so I'm hoping they take that into consideration.
This incident won't keep Will's family from attending other holiday festivities.
Christmas spirit is a good thing with our family. We love it, and I don't want that to ruin one time for my son.
But she says this may be a call for change.
I do think they need to be a little bit tougher with this. Drinking and driving is no joke. It does harm not just that person, but other people's lives are at risk.
Luckily, there were no injuries reported and the parade was still able to go on. In downtown Beloit, Gabriella Becerra, News 3 Now.
The chase ended when the driver eventually stopped between two trees in Winnebago County in Illinois. Along with the 5th OWI offense, he faces possible charges of knowingly fleeing an officer, driving with a revoked license, obstructing an officer, and reckless driving. A passenger, 52-year-old Aaron Frager of Beloit, was also arrested on 2 felony bench warrants. Badgers fans are celebrating tonight after Wisconsin beat Minnesota. Fans packed bars throughout Madison to see the Badgers win the Big Ten West. Wisconsin's win brings the Axe back to Madison for the first time in 2 years. For more on the victory, we turn it over to Jay Wilson at TCF Bank Stadium in Minneapolis.
It was really pretty simple. The winner of this game wins the Big Ten West Championship, and the winner of the game is Wisconsin, 38-17 over Minnesota. The Gophers had the early lead as they hit on a long touchdown pass, but by halftime, the Badgers had taken the lead, and they extended it early in the third quarter when Jack Cohn threw a touchdown pass to Quintez Cephas to make it 17-7. Jonathan Taylor had a catch for a touchdown and ran 2 more in as the Badgers kept extending the lead. And don't forget about the defense. Caesar Williams made a couple of big stops on 3rd and 4th down deep in Wisconsin territory, and the Badgers are going back to Indianapolis 38-17. We'll hear from Paul Christ and the rest of the happy crew in just a few moments. For now at TCF Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Jay Wilson, News 3 Now Sports.
More local news now. Police say about 200 people were involved in a fight on State Street early this morning. A bystander called police around 2 o'clock after reportedly seeing about 15 people fighting inside Qdoba in the 600 block of State Street. Officials say the fight spilled outside when officers arrived. An incident report says several adults were taken into custody or were given citations and released at the scene. In his report, one Madison police sergeant wrote, quote, "The scene was complete chaos, bedlam, insanity, the likes of which I have never seen in my 12+ years as a Madison police officer." No serious injuries were reported. A Chicago man was hospitalized after police body slammed him to the ground. Video showing the violent takedown has gone viral, but authorities say there's a good reason officers responded that way. Police say the 2 officers approached Bernard Kirsch, who was drinking alcohol at a bus stop. They say he became, quote, irate, threatening them, licking one officer's face and then spitting in the same officer's eye and mouth. After that, police say the officer performed an emergency takedown.
He could have died from that hit on the head. You know, I'm thank God that he's still here, but, anything could have happened.
Kirsch was treated at a hospital and remains in police custody. His mother says he's a father of 2 little girls, but's also schizophrenic and blind in one eye. The Civilian Office of Police Accountability is investigating this incident. Authorities in Arizona say 2 children have been found dead after being swept away by floodwaters. Officials say a vehicle with 9 people inside was crossing a creek near the New Mexico border yesterday when it was swept up by rushing water. 4 children and an adult were able to get out and became stranded on a sandbar before a rescue helicopter picked them up. A 3rd child is still missing.
We have a lot of good training with a lot of great people assisting and expert knowledge and experience out looking.
Crews searching for the child tonight are also dealing with flood warnings and dangerous weather conditions. The relation between the adults and the children is still unclear. Still to come on News 3 Now at 10. Now that Black Friday is over, it's Small Business Saturday. Check out how Monroe Street celebrated this morning. Welcome back. Grocery shopping can be overwhelming sometimes. Foods are often packaged with a dizzying array of labels, sometimes with healthy sounding buzzwords like organic, natural, and cage-free. But how do you know if those labels actually mean anything? Danica Lewis for Consumer Reports cuts through the confusion to help you focus on the most meaningful food labels.
All right, guys. Who wants some?
Donna Simons runs her own food co-op and teaching kitchen. But it's her farm that stands out for its eggs.
My chickens have a pretty good life. They can forage naturally. They are outdoors all day.
Donna's farm isn't so typical. Once a year, it's thoroughly inspected by A Greener World, a group that Consumer Reports says is free of conflicts of interest and performs unannounced farm visits to earn the seal, Animal Welfare Approved.
Raising animals according to the highest standards is the most important thing I can do as a farmer, as a supplier of food, and as an educator.
Consumer Reports says Animal Welfare Approved is a seal worth searching out. A recent guide by Consumer Reports analyzed and rated many of the food labeling seals and claims that consumers encounter from farmers markets to supermarkets.
It's very hard for consumers to know which of these claims have a good definition behind them and good standards that meet their expectations.
Take, for example, all natural, pesticide-free, or no antibiotics. In some cases, those labels may be accurate, though shoppers can't always be sure because the claims are not well-defined or required to be properly verified. Consumer Reports says a better label to look for is
USDA organic seal is a very good one. It's backed by federal law and federal regulations that are really quite comprehensive.
Consumer Reports also highly rate seals like non-GMO Project Verified, Certified Humane Raised and Handled, and American Grass-Fed. Bottom line, you might have to do a little homework, but at least you'll understand what the labels really mean.
Know which ones are meaningful and which ones are not, so that your purchasing decisions really have the impact that you want them to have.
Danica Lewis, News 3 Now.
For all the steak and burger lovers, you might want to look for the American Grass-Fed seal. It means that the cattle graze on pasture and eat only grass their entire life. These animals are not treated with antibiotics or growth hormones, and the farms are inspected every 15 months. Yesterday was the biggest Black Friday ever, with $7.4 billion spent in the U.S. That's in addition to the $2.2 billion shoppers dropped on Thanksgiving Day. Spending habits are changing, though. 43% more consumers than last year bought merchandise online and picked it up in stores, while $2.9 billion of this year's holiday season sales have come from purchases made using a smartphone. Holiday shopping is officially in full swing, and today the focus moved from Black Friday to Small Business Saturday. The shops on Monroe Street in Madison were busy with customers supporting small businesses and enjoying the area now that road construction has ended. There was also a chance for giveaways and prizes. Let's get a look at your first alert weather with Gary Canalti now. That rain we're seeing will start to mix with a little snow tonight. Right, Gary?
A little snow, maybe a little freezing rain, and a little sleet as well. All are possibilities tonight. Three things you need to know in the forecast. Look for that rain from Madison southward as you start heading northward to start to mix with some sleet, freezing rain, or snow, especially north of Madison. And then tomorrow that mix will change over to snow with about 1 to 4 inches of accumulation from Madison toward the north and west. The higher amounts, 3 or 4 inches north of the Dells, an inch or two north and west of Madison, but it'll be windy and that will cause travel problems. But after we get out of the weekend, we go back to work on Monday and it just turns seasonably cold and quiet for all of next week with lots of sunshine and temperatures that'll be in the mid to upper 30s. But we have an alert day in the forecast overnight into tomorrow. That light rain, sleet, snow, freezing rain mix will eventually change over to all snow on Sunday with about 1 to 4 inches of accumulation. Already winter weather advisories are in effect for areas north of Wisconsin Dells, including Juneau, Adams, Marquette, and Green Lake counties from midnight tonight through 6 p.m. tomorrow evening. Now, on future track, You can see that area is very close to where, and it lines up very well with what we're going to see on radar. Right where the mixed precipitation is, that's north of the Dells. South of there, it's mainly rain right now. But notice as temperatures start to fall by early tomorrow morning, that mix of precipitation will start to change over to all snow. It'll be spotty. There'll be some areas that get some locally heavier amounts, but for the most part, it'll be just a light snow and then with strong winds. Then by Monday morning, things clear out. Temperatures drop into the lower 20s, but we'll see sunshine return for Monday. As far as snowfall amounts are concerned, Future Track computer model shows around an inch in Madison. To the north and west, maybe some 2 or 3 inch amounts. The 2 to 4 inch amounts most likely will be north of Wisconsin Dells. Temperatures right now, right around freezing north of Madison, but here in town and areas to the south, Janesville, Monroe, upper 30s. Platteville right now at 38 degrees. So until those temperatures drop, we're going to see mainly rain from Madison on south. We've already had some thunderstorms this evening, but then you start getting in the northern portions of Dodge County, north of Beaver Dam, north of Portage and Columbia County, and then up toward the Dells. That's where we're seeing that wintry mix of precipitation. Northern Wisconsin, it's pretty much all snow occurring there, and winter storm warnings are in effect for tonight into tomorrow from just north of the Twin Cities to Eau Claire, Wausau, Green Bay. That area could see 6 to 12 inches of snow. Up toward Lake Superior, they may end up with about 2 feet of snow before all is said and done. So again, winter weather advisories north of Wisconsin Dells from midnight tonight through 6 p.m. tomorrow. Overnight, look for cloudy skies. It'll be breezy. Showers will start mixing with snow, sleet, or freezing rain north of Madison, and then that changeover will take place during the day tomorrow. High of 36 early, temperatures falling through the 30s, and that precipitation changing to all snow by afternoon with about 1 to 4 inches of total accumulation by the time all is said and done tomorrow night. Now, as we take a look at the 7 to 10 day forecast, once we get that system out of here, the weather pattern really slows down across the country, and we see some pretty nice weather here, at least seasonably cold for this time of year, and don't see any precipitation beginning Monday, lasting until probably at least Saturday of next weekend. So that gives us, quite a bit of time to just kind of settle down, and areas up to the north to dig out.
Ooh, that's good. And seeing all those little sunshines lined up, that makes you feel good after going through this.
Much better to look at that than those other stormy symbols.
Oh, yeah, what we're seeing today. All right. Thank you so much, Gary.
You're welcome.
Coming up on News 3 Now at 10, the Axe is coming back to Wisconsin as we speak. Highlights in a post-game report from Minneapolis next in sports.
News
Well, coming into today's game, Wisconsin seniors are 10-1 in rivalry trophy games. And that one loss, you know it, 370 days ago against Minnesota. A third contender in today's game, though, was Mother Nature, and she was not in a good mood. Gophers striking first on their first drive. Tanner Morgan throwing a bomb to Rashad Bateman. He knows he's got it. 7-0 Minnesota up first. But not a lot happening for the Gophers offense after that because Zach Bond is here. That sack giving him 10.5 on the season. He and Chris Orr teaming up for double-digit sacks only for the second time in school history. Under 3 to go till halftime. Jack Cohn gonna make it a big one. Jonathan Taylor, amazing awareness, amazing balance there. He wasn't gonna let anyone else get that ball. Badgers take the 10-7 lead. JT now with 5 career receiving touchdowns, all of them this season. Second half here now, Cohn letting the ball fly again, this time to Quintez Cephas. That one was such a beauty. He led the team in catches with 5 for 114 yards, 17-7 Wisconsin. Badgers not so heavy on the run today, surprising given the weather. Kendrick Pryor, though, making this one count. The 26-yarder to open up the lead a little bit more, 24-10 Wisconsin. And you can't call it a Badger win this season if JT doesn't run one in. He passes the 1,700-yard mark today, joining Herschel Walker in this elite duo. This was such a great moment here. 5 seconds left on the clock. No one was more ready to get Paul Bunyan's axe back to Madison than senior linebacker Chris Orr. He's the first one there. RIP to the goalpost at TCF Bank Stadium. Badgers win. The axe is coming back to Madison. Jay Wilson, tell me what's good in Minneapolis.
The last couple of days here in Minneapolis, all we heard was row the boat, row the boat, row the boat. Well, it's really hard to row the boat when the lakes are frozen. And the Badgers made sure that the oars were all out of the water for the Gophers as Wisconsin goes to the Big Ten championship game with this 38-17 win. Some of the Badgers thought the Gophers disrespected Paul Bunyan's axe because they rented it out for weddings and parties and such. Well, the axe is now back in Madison.
The worst feeling in the world was losing on our home field and having them take it. And the best feeling in the world is beating them on their home field on senior day and taking it from them.
You see all the emotions and everything comes out of everyone, not just the seniors. It's truly a team win, and we did it for everyone.
A month ago, this scenario seemed almost unlikely after losses to Illinois and Ohio State. But the Badgers kept their focus, won 4 straight, and are headed back to Indy.
You can't get tomorrow because you're going to waste today, and having that mindset going into it, preparing every day to the maximum and going into tomorrow sharper and just having that edge and being confident with the game plans, I think that's been huge for us.
All this stuff at the end is at the end. And, I'm always grateful when a team, especially this team, earns the right to play more games. But none of that's possible unless you just live in that moment, and the moment is each week.
So Wisconsin goes to the Big Ten championship for the 6th time in its 9-year history, and they'll face a familiar foe, also appearing for the 6th time, the Ohio State Buckeyes. At TCF Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Jay Wilson, News 3 Now Sports.
All right, so this win will likely eliminate any hope that the Gophers had of playing in the college football playoff. Now, Wisconsin should move up quite a bit in this week's poll. We will find out on Tuesday night. Another big rivalry game in the Big Ten, Ohio State and Michigan. The Wolverines have only won this rivalry game once in this decade. That was back in 2011. Close one in the first half. Shea Patterson down the middle. Donovan Peoples-Jones on the other side for the 25-yard score. It's a 1-point game. A lot of Buckeyes after that. A lot of J.K. Dobbins rushing for 211 yards and 4 touchdowns today. Now, Ohio State quarterback Justin Fields left the game for a little bit with a reported knee injury, but came back looking just fine, finishing with 4 touchdowns on the day. Now, Jim Harbaugh has never beat Ohio State in his career at Michigan. 56-27, the final score. Elsewhere in the Big Ten, in the battle for Illinois, the Illini not able to put a bow on this season. Andrew Marty running for 111 yards and 2 touchdowns, while passing for another. Northwestern getting the hat. And Indiana upsetting Purdue in double overtime to reclaim the old Oaken bucket after losing 2 of those in a row. The other big rivalry game today, the Iron Bowl between Alabama and Auburn. It all came down to this. Joseph Bulovas was perfect in the game until this 30-yard attempt would have been tied. I know, girl, I feel it too. Auburn beating Alabama 48-45. Everybody storm the field, or not in this case, that poor lady. This will likely eliminate Alabama from the college football playoff. for the first time ever. A couple more Badger notes. Women's hockey and men's hockey both winning tonight. And the Badger volleyball team finishing the season out, sweeping Rutgers. They are also the Big Ten champions. So really, really great day to be a Badger.
Everything coming up Badgers today.
We like
That's
wins
amazing.
around here.
All right, we'll be right back. From a A local business put some lost and found Frisbee discs to a good cause today.
I think charity is just a really good thing to do for any community. People that are less fortunate, have no means, if they can be helped out, if the community has the ability to do it, they should do it.
Glide Disc Golf held a lost and found sale today. They sold more than 325 of the 1,200 that they had. It's a fundraiser for the River Food Pantry. Let's take another quick look at the forecast.
Well, let's start by taking a look at the radar, and we'll see that there's rain from Madison on toward the east, but a mix of precipitation north of town where temperatures are right around freezing. Winter weather advisory north of the Dells from midnight tonight through 6 p.m. tomorrow. Look for a messy day tomorrow with some snow, and then after that, very quiet weather for much of next week.
All right, sounds good. Thank you so much, Gary, and thanks for joining us. Have a great night.